Wow, that was kind of cool. How it did that. I didn't even plan for that.
That's perfect.
That's magical.
That's right, you geeks. Welcome into the Echo Screen, the official podcast of the Clan of the Grey Wolf. This time with special effects.
And jazz hands.
And jazz hands. As always, I am your host, the Commodore, and with me is the ever-reliable, always trustworthy, Rue. How you doing, Rue?
I'm doing better now that I got some Diet Coke with lime.
Diet Coke with lime. Who knew they made such a thing?
With the fresh taste of lemon.
Perfect. They market it well.
Here, you vamp. I'm going to tweet about this.
All right, you should get on the tweeters.
There's some echo in the echo screen.
There's
Echo.
Well, that's the point, right?
No, you got to get closer.
Oh, there it is. That's the problem.
Echo on the Commodore.
Problem is I need to get closer to the microphone, they're telling me.
You fool.
But then no one can see my mouth move. They won't know it's me that's talking.
Tweet.
Anyway.
Hey,
we're going to talk about things today. We always talk about some things.
that's
right?
the idea.
But, so as we have done with the show for the last two iterations, this one will be exactly the same. We're going to talk about some issues of some kind of relative pertinence to today in video gaming.
Linsanity, baby.
No,
Woo!
we're not talking about Linsanity, and I find it kind of repugnant that you just found out what that is, and you're not that Linsanity isn't that interesting. But
There we go.
what would happen?
Nothing.
Okay, everything's good. But then we're going to break into a conversation about what did you do?
I'm screwing
Why
up
are you
the
doing
audio.
that? Why are you doing that?
Nothing. Keep going. Everyone's talking. It's fine.
Good. So then we're going to talk about Star Wars a little bit. Or maybe a lot of bit, depending on how much you guys want to talk about Star Wars. And as we always do, we're going to take some time while Rue tests the audio here to do a little Q&A session at the end. Feel free to ask any kind of question that you would like to get us to answer. If you'd like to submit a question for the final Q&A session, as always, please send us a private message via the chat room, which is username COTGW, or otherwise what you said here in the chat room.
Here.
Anyway, send a private message over there. Let us know what's on your mind. If you want to talk about today's topics, or you want to talk about something completely out of left field, like
Linsanity.
then you can go ahead and ask us questions about that. Who says Asians can't drive?
Wow, you're so racist.
I know. Anyway, racism aside, why don't we actually get started? Are you done with the tweeter yet? I see your fingers on the button over there. Okay,
It's
good.
tweeted.
We have twitted. All right, perfect. So now that we've done the Twitter thing, we can start the podcast.
Yep.
That's right. No, we're started. Okay, good.
So, the news stories.
News stories. So tell us what's on the docket for today.
Tim Schafer.
What a nice guy.
All Tim Schafer all the time.
Oh, this is Tim Schafer Vision,
And is really,
hijacking the Echo Screen.
according to our title, it's his really, really great week. Really.
Really great week.
Yes.
Okay, now Tim Schafer is renowned for many reasons,
Adventure games.
among which
Adventure
games.
Such as?
Psychonauts also.
Yes.
And
Full throttle he did,
well,
correct, right?
Full Throttle, yes. But
Back at LucasArts?
well, and that's unbelievable, right? I mean,
Yes.
that's just the greatest, one of my favorite adventure games of all time.
Back to the Future.
In fact, most of Tim Schafer's games are pretty damn good, which is why it's good that we're talking about Tim Schafer this week, because he had a pretty good week.
He did. On a few different fronts.
Right. So
Such
let's,
as?
all right. So let's move.
Pick
so
one.
We've got. I'm gonna pick the one that I like the most.
All right.
How's that sound? So Tim Schafer had made Psychonauts, which was an original Xbox title, as well as being kind of that generation, right? It was PS2, or was it just?
I think it was
Xbox?
2004, I want to say.
Yeah, something.
Everyone in
along
the
those
chat
lines.
now correct us.
Anyway, yep, exactly. Go check that out on Wikipedia and let us know. But anyway, so Psychonauts was not a tremendous success.
No.
Although
At least back in the day.
it was one of those great games that people always knew was fantastic, yet didn't sell extraordinarily well, which happens from time to time. Mm-hmm. We've discussed several of those kinds of games here. Psychonauts happens to be one of them. So the question always became, Tim Schafer always had it in his mind that Psychonauts would have at least one sequel, because it was such a great game. And the story, which Tim Schafer is really known for, was great. But let's face it, coming up with a cut with $10 million or whatever it was going to take to make that game is going to be pretty tough to do. Now that Tim Schafer started his own studio, Double Fine.
Right.
Enter one Marcus Notch Person. Is that as he said?
Probably something
Pearson?
like that.
Pearson?
The multi-millionaire behind Minecraft.
Right. So if you played Minecraft, right, he's the guy that started Minecraft. He said, "Hey, why don't we make this happen?" Which Tim Schafer
Via
thought
tweet.
of as a joke.
He just randomly said this via tweet.
Right. And everyone thought it was a joke. Tim Schafer, in fact, said it was kind of like being proposed to over at a football game over the Jumbotron.
The Bigatron.
The Megatron. Okay, that's something different.
Yes. And everyone thought it was a funny joke. And then Notch comes back and tweets, "No, really, I'm serious."
Right, he's serious. And then they had a conversation, and according to Tim Schafer, he said, "Hey, you realize, Notch, it's probably going to cost about $15 million to make this game."
Not that much. He said it's going to be more than $1 million.
Right.
It sounds more like 3 or 4.
Right.
Probably.
But I mean, to do it, but he said...
To do it right.
But my point is, when he started talking, he said, Psychonauts originally cost $13 million.
Was it $13 million?
$13 million is what he said for the original. And then he said, it's probably going to cost at least that much to do the second game.
I missed a 1 there.
At which point, Notch said, "Yeah, I can do that."
Right.
Now imagine that, right?
And I'm looking right now. Let's see, this is the beauty of live television.
Right.
Is that I'm reading... how do you pronounce that? I love this website, but I never know how to pronounce it. Is it Gama Sutra or Gama Sutra?
It's Gama Sutra.
Gama Sutra makes more sense.
Yeah.
.com, and just about an hour or so ago this came up. Notch clears the air on the rumored Psychonauts revival, and he basically said that yes, it's a little bit more than he expected initially, but he, along with a couple of other parties, would still like to invest in the project. Which means, and so they're talking.
Right.
They're talking. This thing that you can't just snap your fingers and do things. So, stuff takes time.
But
it looks like Psychonauts 2 very likely could be coming.
That is one half of Tim Schafer's awesome week. Why don't you tell everyone about the other half?
Linsanity.
That has nothing to do with Linsanity.
I just like saying it.
It has nothing to do with it.
I'm just excited because I found out who this guy was.
Literally nothing.
Yes. And yes, okay.
He went to Harvard,
Who?
Jeremy Lin.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Notch.
No, I'm talking about Linsanity.
Oh.
You seem to want to talk about it, so why don't we talk about it?
I don't really want to.
Oh, it's not a sports show.
I just like saying Linsanity.
It's not a sports show, despite our lack.
You know who's the greatest quarterback of all time?
Peyton Manning.
Eli Manning.
Well, okay, that's
because
true,
he
too.
just won the last game that I saw. Therefore, he's the greatest of all time.
Hall of Famer.
Oh, now we're doing a sports show. And now let's talk about that for the next 6 hours.
Mark Sanchez.
Anyway, back on track.
Back on track. The other half of Tim Schafer's really, really great week.
Oh, one more thing I want to note about that was funny about the Notch Twitter thing is that apparently Tim Schafer woke up to a bunch of people calling him and texting him saying he needs to check Twitter, and he thought he was being sued. But instead, it was the opposite because someone wanted to give him money.
If such a thing happened to me where I woke up and people said, "Hey, you should check Twitter," I probably would think the same thing.
Yes, that's happened a few times.
That's exactly. Someone found my secret cache of pictures.
Anyway. And so the second part is.
Kickstart My Heart.
Yes, Kickstarter. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Nothing like quoting Motley Crue on the podcast.
That's absolutely terrible.
That's what it's all about. That's the echo screen right there. Quoting Motley Crue.
Well, let's give some up-to-the-date numbers. You tell the backstory. I'm going to give some up-to-date numbers here.
All right, so Tim Schafer has a...
Who you might have heard of.
From this podcast.
From 2 minutes ago.
As we said, is really well known for his work on so many of the classic point-and-click adventure games that many of us have grown up loving, watching, being a part of.
And a genre that is beloved, yet not exactly the hottest thing right now. So
most of the people that make point-and-click adventure games make them for kids because they happen to be pretty easy games to understand, which is probably one of the reasons why we liked them when we were kids.
And it's a little bit harder to get a company to invest in such games.
Absolutely. However, in order to kickstart the effort for Double Fine to be able to, which is Tim Schafer's new company, to make such an adventure game.
Newish.
Yeah. Right.
Like a decade.
What he's doing now.
Yeah.
What he's doing now is what I mean. In other words, he's not still working for LucasArts.
Right.
In order to kickstart that effort, he started something called Kickstarter, which was an effort to really raise money to start an adventure game, a new Tim Schafer adventure game by Double Fine. And He was expecting to raise, I think, something like
The goal was 400,000.
so a couple $100,000.
That'd be 4.
Well, no, that would be 2.
Yeah, I said
Technically,
4. You
but
said
4
couple.
right. I mean,
Because
I'm
you
just
fail
saying.
listening comprehension.
Well, no, I used couple in the colloquial sense.
You mean a few?
A few would have been more accurate. Yes.
You mean gonad?
a gaggle,
Flock? A murder?
a murder, a pack?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm out.
I agree. Let's get on with it.
Okay.
All right. So so as of this moment, they've raised
1.8 million. Wait, $1,822,187.
I'm not good at math.
That's a
but
lot.
I think they did pretty
That's
well.
more, yeah.
Yeah, it's
and
more.
and about $1 million of that was funded in the first day. I believe this is probably the quickest $1 million Kickstarter project ever.
I think it just goes to show you that people really do love those old adventure games. and that
People
they really
really
do wanna
trust
pay to see
Tim
them.
Schafer.
I agree. It's like, here, have my money, sir.
Right. So
Make it.
of the pledge levels, you got 29,000 people pledging about $15. You have 18,000 pledging 30. You have 3,800 pledging $100.
That's crazy.
I feel like I'm reading like campaign finance reports.
Yeah, I know.
You have,
Or we're back at the marathon, which really makes me feel weird.
and
Like I haven't slept in 3 days.
you know, 2 people donated $10,000 at least.
That's crazy.
And probably a little bit more. So, regardless, he just again we're updated up to the minute here, and Tim Schafer just updated with a new an update video on the Kickstarter project page tonight, basically saying, "Hey, this is a little bit money than we thought we were going to get, so we're going to
good
add
surprise.
some stuff. Yeah, maybe some voice acting, this, that, and the other, and he
Importing it.
outlined the platforms.
Yep.
It's going to be PC, Mac, Linux,
Fantastic.
and Android and iPhone.
Perfect. Then
So-
I shall be a part of this as well.
So what does this mean
Yes. So now let's get to the actual real question
for
we want to ask.
Kickstarter?
Who cares about that?
Well, no, I think Kickstarter is a big part of this. This
Okay,
is very important.
Fair enough. But that's not what I find interesting.
Well, what do you find interesting?
What I find
because it's all about you.
It is all about me.
Yes.
What I find interesting is that the community, not just community of people that make games like Notch, but the community of people that enjoy games and play games, is absolutely can absolutely begin a project to inspire someone to go and make a game that otherwise would never have been made, right? So before, there would have been a lot of red tape that had been cut through in order to get anywhere near the funding that would be required to make Psychonauts 2. And trust me, Microsoft's not forking out that cash unless they feel very, very strongly that they're going to be able to make money. Think Ubisoft and Beyond Good and Evil 2, right? Same kind of thing. But the community itself, with gamers, with people that make games, can get a project off the ground. That's awesome. Because if you take that to its logical logical fruition and conclusion.
You're using the big words,
What's wrong with that?
so you get paid for
We
it.
have a very smart group of people out there.
Are you smart?
They're smart.
Look, Linsanity. They are smart.
They're smart. They know what Linsanity is. They're smarter than you. Anyway, so duh. Not the people that say duh are stupid.
No, they're all stupid.
Okay. So
The people that watch Star Wars are stupid.
well,
Or
anyway.
like Star Wars. Oh, wait, that's a different topic.
Yeah, it's different. We're jumping ahead of ourselves. But I think it's crazy that you could get a game off the ground like this, right? I mean, if you take that to the logical conclusion, that means that if people wanted to see something, right, that just out of the blue, if they can raise the capital, they can get in touch with the people that made these games, all of a sudden you could have something that I think all of us have dreamed of, which is that we decide the projects that they make.
This is crowdsourcing of projects that Kickstarter has allowed. Have you followed the saga of the Angry Video Game Nerd movie at all?
No,
He's raised...
which is really a great thing.
Regardless.
Because I really am
But
not interested.
Regardless
But
of what you think of the project,
Right.
the point is that the Angry Video Game Nerd really doesn't have... I mean, yeah, he's really well known, but he doesn't have the cachet of Tim Schafer.
No.
But he's
Nor
raised
Notch.
$300,000
That's pretty good.
for a movie.
That's pretty good.
So he can make this movie. I mean, that's a good
That's a good chunk of
that's a
change.
good indie title budget.
Oh, yeah.
And he can make this movie with virtually no sacrifice on his part.
Nothing wrong with that.
Crowdsourced.
Except for his worthless time and energy. Right? Is that what you're saying?
No. What?
Well, you said